Right now, somewhere in your home, there is a product with the word natural on the label. Maybe it's in your kitchen, maybe your bathroom, and you probably picked it specifically because of that word. So here's what that word actually means. Legally, in most countries, when it's on a food or beauty product, nothing. It means absolutely nothing. No law defines it, no regulator checks it, no test is required. Any company can stamp 100% natural on anything and walk away without consequence, no matter what's actually inside. And that isn't a loophole someone found by accident. That gap was built on purpose by people who profit from it. So how does one word with no meaning make billions of dollars a year? And why do we keep falling for it, even when we know this? Welcome to Anatomy of a Lie. Today we're taking apart one of the most profitable lies ever told, not by one fraudster, not by one company, by an entire industry that learned how to use language as a weapon before you even reach the shelf. Let's start with how the law works, because once you see it, you won't forget it. In most countries, the word natural on a food label has no agreed definition. None. Regulators have tried to create one and failed, not because it's complicated, because the food industry has spent decades making sure it stays undefined. A clear definition would cost them money. No definition makes them billions. In the United States, the FDA first tried to define the word in 1991. 30 years later, they still haven't. In Europe, the rules vary by country and by product. In most of the world's biggest consumer markets, the word sits in a gray zone, deliberately kept there by the industry that profits from it. The beauty industry is even looser. A moisturizer can legally say natural formula on the front while containing synthetic preservatives, petroleum compounds, and lab-made fragrances. Legally. Today. The word on the front of the bottle is not required to have any relationship to what's in it. That's not an oversight. That is the system working exactly as the industry designed it. So that's the first part. The word is legally empty. And it was kept that way on purpose because empty is worth more than defined. But here's what's actually more interesting. Even people who know this still respond to the word. Why? There's a name for what happens in your brain when you see the word natural. It's called the appeal to nature. The idea deep in human instinct that things from nature are good and things made in a lab are suspect. You didn't learn this. You were born with a version of it. For most of human history, if something was unfamiliar, it could be dangerous. So the brain developed a shortcut. Unknown equals caution. Familiar and natural equals safe. The problem is that shortcut was built for a world that no longer exists. Arsenic is natural. Formaldehyde is made naturally inside your own body right now. Meanwhile, most synthetic ingredients in food and cosmetics go through more safety testing than their natural equivalents. But none of that information reaches the part of your brain that reads a label. By the time your eyes process the word natural, the feeling has already fired. The decision is already leaning. Your rational mind comes in after and just finds reasons to agree. Marketing researchers figured this out in the 1970s, and the food and beauty industries have been building products around it ever since. The word doesn't tell you what's in the product. It triggers a feeling, and the feeling is what you're actually paying for. And here's the part that makes this particular lie so hard to shake. It doesn't just work on people who don't know better. It works on both sides. If you know nothing about a product, natural fills in the gaps with good assumptions. Safe, clean, trustworthy. Your brain invents qualities the product never claimed. And if you do know better, if you read labels, if you care about what you put in your body, natural feels like confirmation. Like the product already agrees with what you believe about yourself. So you stop looking closer. It doesn't fool the uninformed and leave the informed alone. It flatters the informed into not checking. That's a more efficient trap than almost anything we've covered on this channel. The word is just where it starts. Around it, an entire system was built to keep the feeling going, without making any additional claims that could be legally challenged. Green packaging, brown paper textures, handwritten style fonts, pictures of farms and forests, words like Pure, clean, honest, simple. None of these words have legal definitions either. None of them need to be proven, but each one adds to the same picture, something wholesome, close to the earth, trustworthy. Even if the product has no connection to any of it. The food industry has a name for this: naturalness signaling. It's a documented, studied, optimized strategy. Companies know which exact shade of green scores highest in trust research. They know a rough paper label makes the same product taste better in blind tests, not because anything changed, but because it feels more honest. They know that putting the word farm in a brand name increases sales by a measurable amount, regardless of whether a farm exists. In beauty, the same system runs under clean beauty, a phrase with even less legal definition than natural, and a price tag that can run 300% above an identical conventional product. You're not buying a product, you're buying a feeling. One that was engineered to cost almost nothing to produce and as much as possible to sell. So what do you do with this? Not paranoia. You don't need to throw out everything with a leaf on it. You just need one habit. When a product uses natural, clean, pure, or any word like it as its main selling point, ask one simple question. What does this word actually mean on this specific product? Not in general. This one, right here. If the answer isn't on the label, it doesn't exist. The ingredient list is the only part of a product that is legally required to tell the truth. Everything else on the packaging, the name, the imagery, the feel-good language on the front, is marketing. The ingredient list is the anatomy. The rest is performance. What unsettles me about this one isn't the companies doing it. Companies chase profit. That's not surprising. What unsettles me is that this lie doesn't feel like a lie. It feels like a fact, like saying something is red or heavy. And that, the fact that we never even think to question it, is exactly what makes it work. The most effective lies aren't the ones you push back on. They're the ones that never even register as claims. That's the anatomy of a word worth billions. Subscribe to the archive. See you on the next video, where we break down yet another lie.